going on, everybody? I am going to replace my steering coupler. As everybody know, on these trucks, like the 99 Tahoes, 96 through 99 or 96 through 2000 Tahoes, Suburbans, the pickup trucks, over time this shaft piece wears, and you can rock the steering wheel and it'll have play in it. So I have a lot of play in mind. I mean, this is a 20-year-old truck. This is the last steering component that I would have to replace. Everything else has been replaced. This piece, it was $249. That's why I held off on buying it, but it went down on Amazon to $190. So when I saw that it dropped, more than 50 bucks, I went on ahead and bought it. You could just buy this part of it, but you would have to cut out the rivets and make sure it fit and put it all back together with nuts and bolts, and it'll cost about 60 bucks. But I wanted to go ahead and just replace the whole shaft piece as a unit, considering it is 20 years old. As everybody knows, this is a collapsible, so if you're in a car accident, it don't push the steering wheel out to you. It's supposed to collapse in some before it get to that point. This is a common problem. Anytime you can rock your steering wheel and your tires don't turn, then it's bad. And mine had a lot of play. So oftentimes I'd have it over the road a little bit, or if somebody, I can drive it like that, but if I wanted someone else to drive, it wouldn't be as easy or comfortable for them to drive. And by me having the rims on here, it makes it better if I just go ahead and replace this. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. Just a quick video on it. It's not difficult. It's just this one bolt here, which is anywhere from a 10 to a 12 millimeter, I believe. And then you have a bolt up here that connects it to the steering shaft. So it's just real simple. 2 bolts. You push, once you take this bolt out first, then I'm gonna take this bolt out. I'm gonna push it back and just slide it down and pull it out. Should be very simple process. This is what it looks like inside the vehicle. It's a little dark, but that's the shaft piece right there, and it goes down to the gearbox down there. It's a little bit hard to see, but I'm not gonna do the video on exactly everything I did to take it out, because it's really basic. Even if you're a beginner and you want to replace it, like I say, if you can sit your car with your tire wheel straight and you can rock it to the left or right and not feel your tires move. I replaced my gearbox already, so my gearbox is new, my power steering pump is new, my pressure lines is new, my whole full suspension is new. I even replaced the upper control arm and lower control arm bushings, ball joints, tie rods, everything is new. So this is the last thing I need to replace on my front suspension to have it back to factory specs suspension wise, well, as close as I can get to it, because I do have 26-inch tires on here, so that does play a factor as well. But I got it all wheel lined up. The last component would be this. I mean, theoretically, after I do this, I should go get another wheel alignment, but I'm not going to do that unless I feel like it's a problem with the steering or it's pulling or something like that. Right now, it's perfectly fine with my tires. They said my tires perfectly straight. So only thing would be off would be my steering wheel would not be perfectly centered if I did have a problem. And that would be the reason to get another wheel alignment. But that's further down the line. So I just wanted to put this video up for anybody else that has this problem. I bought this piece on Amazon. It went down for sale for $190. It was $254, which is a lot of money. $190 is a lot of money. But I plan on having this truck for 10 years. So I only had it for a year. Well, it's almost been 2 years, actually. I bought it in August of 2017, and it is April of 2019. So in a few moments, I had about a year and a half, but I plan on having it at least 10 years. So I want it to last as long as possible. I do like this truck, and even if I decide to sell it, I would just be selling it to get me another SUV because of the space I like to have. But anyway, this is what the piece looks like. This whole steering shaft is just 2 bolts. One at the top, one at the bottom. A beginner mechanic can do something like this. Even the women can do it, kids can do it, the whole 9. Take this bolt out first, which is back here on the steering shaft. Then you take this bolt out, you push this piece in with a pry bar to push it back off of the gearbox knuckle, and it just slides right out. Slide the new one in place, pop both bolts in, and you're good to go. So Thanks for the video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. All right, fast forward in time. I got the part off. As you can see, the old one, how is, all of this stuff is busted up. I'm gonna show you in a minute how it has some play in it that it shouldn't have. But that's pretty much the bad part. This is the part that is busted up at. I can twist this and it takes a nice amount of play before this actually moves, and that's actually what turns the steering wheel. This is the factory one, so like I say, it's 20 years old compared to the new one. I bought it as a whole complete unit. It's nice, tight, and stiff, which is what you want. And you see the thickness difference and everything. It's just a much better, bulkier piece than the original piece actually was and is. Also, the shaft piece was up there at the top. It's a little bit better showing you now that it's out of the vehicle. And that is this piece here. As you can see, that is the piece that comes off of here. It kind of slides on there, and the nut is on the back end of it. The nut is actually a 15 millimeter, so you will need a 15 to get that off. You loosen it up from the back end, and then you slide the piece forward and out of the slot, slide it back in place, put the 15 back on, tighten it up. The other piece that's at the top of the shaft, this part is at the bottom of the shaft. It's the part that connects to the actual gearbox itself. It's a groove in the gearbox that this squeezes on in through. So you got to make sure it's fully all the way forward before you put this on. Should be almost no gap between the bottom of the coupler, which is this, and the gearbox. So it should be almost flush right up on it. Then you put the screw in and tighten it down. Make sure the threads are downward so that this part is free, and you thread it in downward, not upward. That is another thing to make sure that's correct. And this is an 11 millimeter. So you need 11 millimeter and you would need a 15 millimeter. And you can get this done. It took me less than 2 minutes to get it out. It's not a long process, a long job, just a couple minutes, and you can have it done. This piece has a lot of play in it. It's hard to tell now. Let's see if I can hold it. See, all of that play is what makes it bad. This little bit of play right here equals a lot of play when you're turning the steering wheel. That's a lot of play in steering wheel factor. Just this little bit right here is a lot. This is what you don't want. This is how you know that it is bad. That little bit of play, it equals a lot of play in steering. As opposed to the new one, as you can see, doesn't turn at all. It's all perfectly snug and tight. So that was just an update to give you guys an insight on it. Once again, like, subscribe, and comment on my videos. I do a lot of DIYs, especially on my older vehicle, because I put a lot of work into it. Check me out if you enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel. Thanks again.